Well, this is an exciting day and a blessing for me to bring you this very first tutorial of a painting that I created in my new studio. Won't you join me as I create this adorable little mouse on a mushroom in soft pastel? Hello, artists, and this is the first time I'm saying this from my new art studio. Welcome to Monet Cafe Studio. I get a little choked up just saying that right now, but we're finally here, and I'm not only thrilled about this very first painting I've created and tutorial I'm bringing you, but about so many more to come, Lord willing. And I'm just grateful for all of those who have been with me along this journey and so many newcomers that will join this beautiful family. So let's get started with this first tutorial. And I'm just honored and grateful for you and this beautiful new location. So this month we've been painting simple subjects in Monet Cafe Studio. And this painting started out as a simple subject of a mushroom, and I couldn't help but add a cute little mouse to the top. So a little bit more than simple, but I think you're going to enjoy it anyway. And I had to add some little fireflies in the distance. And if you're a patron of mine, you will be getting your extra content, as always, extra commentary, and some more little goodies of a sketch to get started if you like. You'll get a downloadable image of that and a copy of my color notes for this painting. But Monet Cafe version on YouTube, you'll be getting plenty of content as well. For the reference material, I found this adorable little mushroom in a forest, and I just thought it was so cute and a nice little simple subject. But I had a concept, as I've mentioned, of adding a little mouse on top. Isn't this guy so cute? And if you'd prefer to keep it really simple, just paint the mushroom, but I'm hoping you'll paint the mouse as well. If you're a patron of mine, you will receive my sketch if you'd like to use that to get started. Now, let's talk about the supplies. And as I always say, use what you have, but I'm going to tell you what I used. And I've really been loving this Canson Mi-Teintes Velvet. And it's a surface that takes pastels so well and allows a lot of layering. It's also mixed media if you want to liquefy your pastels or add any other liquid medium. Thus far, I had only used the cream color, but this pad has 3 values of gray. And for my painting, I used the one on the far right that's just kind of a nice, easy middle value neutral gray. And I'm definitely going to use that surface more often. I used various brands of soft pastels, and I would say a fairly limited palette. As I've mentioned, my patrons will receive a downloadable image of my color notes. And real quickly, let me tell you how to become a patron. It's real easy. It's only $5 a month. You get all the extra goodies and content I'm always talking about. And one of my favorite parts is that I get to see your work. We have games and challenges and so much more. So won't you join the family? And while I've got you here, could I go ahead and get you to click that like button? It really does help YouTube to share my video more often. Of course, comment, and by all means, subscribe if you haven't already. All right, here we go. I'm superimposing my actual painting as the reference here for you to view as I paint. It's actually brighter. I think you can see it better. So I started with this nice dark green. It's a Sennelier pastel, and I'm going to use a combination of dark values for the background. As you can see, I'm just scumbling it in, and I'm just really making little edges. I'm not taking my pastel and making a point to outline around the mouse or the mushrooms, but I'm just kind of turning my pastel to the side to get like I said, a little edge versus a line. And I'm looking at areas. I did use the little mouse reference image to see kind of where some of the fireflies were placed. And while I am going to pretty much cover up the background with mostly dark, I'm not pressing really hard, and I'm just giving myself an idea of where some of these lighter, warmer areas might be. So I did speed this up a little bit more here, just because I think you get the idea. Now, this next color that I'm going to use is a really pretty, a dark blue. It's not the darkest blue, but it's got a little bit of a turquoise feel to it. And I felt like that color would make it feel more like nighttime. This is a pretty dark brown. As you can see, it's not super dark, but it's a nice dark brown to give a little warmth to the background as well. And I find that when we have something dark we have to paint, it's always more beautiful when we combine some darks. And I will be blending this background some later, but right now we're blocking in the main images. And now it's time to work on this little mouse. So I have kind of a middle value brown, and I'm looking at my little image and the actual reference image of the mouse from Unsplash. And I'm making little directional strokes just to emulate kind of how his fur is growing. And I'm using this middle brown in any area, middle value brown, in any area where I see middle values. We can see that it's mostly on his nose, on his little back haunches area. His head is a little lighter, and also his, obviously under his little chin, his little cheeks, and under his belly is a little lighter. I meant to mention, you guys could obviously see that I started with a sketch. When I have an image like this, especially a little animal that's going to need an eye, getting the placement of that eye is important. They have delicate little features, and you just kind of want to get them right. So sometimes a sketch is a good idea. Now I'm using, is that the same middle value brown? No, this one's a little bit darker. So I'm using that one in just a few areas where I see the values are darker. This one's definitely darker. And I'm just examining little areas of shadow. Right tucked under his chin, right before his hands, there's a little dark area. Now this is a little warm, almost taupey color. I'm first getting that down before I add my lightest lights. Now I'm back to my dark brown. Underneath his little curve of his back leg, there's a little shadow, and I use another pastel, that middle brown, just to lighten it up and to blend the edges. Now you're going to see it for a while look pretty segmented, and this is something I didn't understand when I was first painting with pastels. I would have tried to paint every little hair on that mouse, but we're building the mouse from the inside out. We're getting down the basic values, typically leaning more towards darker values first, and then we gradually add our lighter values. So now I have this nice little tan color that is almost the same value as that little mauve-y color I added under his chin, but it's a little bit warmer, and I liked that color. So also look how chunky these big, that's a Terry Ludwig pastel. They're big and chunky, and a lot of times I get people who ask, how do you know where you're placing it? It's so big you can't see where it's landing. But after you paint with pastels a while, you learn a little touch technique. You kind of touch it, make a little test mark, and you almost literally can feel where your pastel is landing. So I'm using these different values just to kind of blend in some of these colors, make little scumbling, sketchy marks, again, kind of in the direction of the fur, and gradually it starts coming together. It takes a little while. Now, I did focus more on this mouse, obviously, so far than the background, but that's because this is a pretty crucial part of the scene. I got a little bit more of that blue just to scumble it in around the mouse a bit more. Now I'm going to warm it up a little bit with this more of an orangey color. I noticed he did have some of that color in him, and I'm fine-tuning things a little bit more with my darker values and giving this a bit more of a three-dimensional feel. Now you'll see me use a trick later where I use pastel pencils, believe it or not, I don't often use those, to make his little whiskers and little fur that's kind of sticking out. So he's starting to take shape here. I used this little pastel a bit. I believe it's a Rembrandt pastel. It's a little bit harder. Now I'm back to a little bit of a darker brown. I'm going to make his little hands right now. And his hands are actually pretty light, but I had to get a little bit of dark down first to give it a bit of contrast. Those little light, delicate fingers will show up more if I have a little hint of a value darker underneath them. Now the tail, pretty easy, just a tail with a middle to dark value brown. I will add a highlight on that later, and I just use it where I see I could blend some pastels or add a little bit of a darker value where it might be needed. I feel like I've got the main values in. I don't want to overwork this mouse. I'm getting his little feet in. Same principle, a little kind of a taupey tan color for his feet. I will later add the lighter values on top. Now, I want to ground him on this mushroom. I want to give him some of his shadow areas. I believe that's the same little green I used for the background. So as I say all the time, color is not as important as value. I mean, you wouldn't think to use a green for shadows, but hey, it worked. Now that's that dark brown. That's a little bit of that might be the same dark brown I used, yes, for the background. And now I've got the basics of the mouse in. He's got a little bit of a shadow underneath him. I'm going to start working on this mushroom. Obviously, underneath him, it's darker. There's a shadow being cast from the mouse to the mushroom, so that's why I use that darker kind of burgundy red. And you can see in my painting, I have superimposed that the right side of the mushroom is a fair amount darker than the left side. It's like there's some sort of a light source, maybe a moon coming from the left that's lighting up the left side of this mushroom. So I'm just doing a gradation of dark to light, kind of from the top of the mushroom and working it to where it has a three-dimensional feel. This is, again, just the blocking in stage. Notice I have my pastel primarily flat. That's why I like to break my pastels a lot. That's a Terry Ludwig there. They're normally almost double that size. I find they're manageable when they're a little bit smaller, especially when working on a smaller content or subject matter like this mouse. Oh, by the way, I failed to mention my piece. I cut the sheet of Canson Velvet to an 8 by 10 format or size. All right, so now I'm blocking in that middle value orange. And notice I'm not trying to necessarily leave spaces for those little nodules that are on the mushroom. What are those called? Does anybody know what those are called? But I am just keeping it very impressionistic, and I'll just, improvise as I go to add those. All right, now it's time to get a little bit more of that dark area underneath the mushroom. Notice the vantage point. We are seeing a little bit under the mushroom, so we're going to get an ellipse. It's that oval shape that's turned under, where it's like taking a coffee cup and turning it upside down and seeing that little inside part just a bit. All right, now I'm going to start blocking in around some of these little hay-like shapes below and some of the secondary mushrooms. Before I do any more blocking in, I wanted to go ahead and blend my background. I used, instead of a piece of pipe foam insulation, this is a little piece of foam that actually came within one of my pastel sets. It's kind of the soft, spongy little foam, and this Canson Velvet is pretty smooth, so this softer blending tool worked really well. This next portion of the painting process is going to be sped up substantially. Again, if you're a patron, you get the slower speeds, but I don't want you to go anywhere because I'm going to slow it back down when I add the little twinkling fireflies in the distance, and also to show you my trick for how to add a little reflection in the eye. Now that's a teeny eye, and these pastels are very chunky. So I'm going to show you my little feel your way, I call it, technique of giving a little test mark and tapping to know where you're placing your mark. So I'll talk through this a little bit more. As you can see, I'm developing the mouse. I grounded him, I like to say, by giving him a shadow underneath that really made him feel like he's really sitting on that mushroom and a little more three-dimensional. Now for these little nodules, gosh, I had a patron of mine reach out to me and tell me what they were called, and now I forgot. They're poisonous, actually, she told me. So I hope that little mouse is careful. But anyway, as you can see, I painted them in kind of a middle value that was cooler in color temperature, and later I go back and add a little highlight on the top and a little shadow underneath some of those. I don't want to overdo it though. And my friends and followers here on the YouTube channel, don't worry, if you want to slow this down, you can always do that in YouTube. There's a little gear icon in the little window, the viewing window, and you can change your playback speed. Turn my voice down though, it always sounds weird. And now I'm adding a little bit of a lighter value to this cute little mouse, gave a little dark mark to his eye, and I'm continuing to look for little areas where I might add some depth. Now my background did need a little more development. I liked it super loose like it was, but too much of that gray surface was showing through, so I'm kind of carving in negatively around some of these spaces, still trying to keep it very loose. And I did add a lot of that deeper blue. It's kind of like a very muted blue to make it have the feeling of being nighttime. I added the brown back again because I want it to feel like these fireflies are warming up maybe some trees in the distance. I'm going to add some green right now to give the feeling that this is a background. it's night, there's some distant trees, and my little fireflies are going to be twinkling in the night sky. And now I'm putting down my first layer of value for the fireflies. Notice it's not really light yet. This is kind of an orange. I even put a little red in there. Now I slowed it down a little bit. This is my next value. It's a little bit brighter orange yellow color. And I take my finger and just pull out a little bit to give a feeling of a glow. And I also am going to add one more lighter value. Now I jumped ahead, just brought some footage here for you. I did this later in the painting to show you how I'm adding a little bit of that bright yellow right there in the center with a few little lines, again, just brushing my finger across it. Okay, now we're going backwards again. Like I said, I jumped ahead for just a second to show you the lightest part of the fireflies, but now I'm zooming in really close. Watch how I'm adding the little lightness on his little claws. It's such a teeny little mark. And now I'm adding a little bit of a red, cool red to the tip of his nose area and another little lighter value. And notice just ever so subtly in the mouse. Now, I'm zooming in and slowing this up quite a bit so you can see how I take this very large pastel. This is going to be the reflection in his eye. And you're going to see me make a little test mark, and it does not land in the right spot. So I'm kind of feeling where the pastel, see that? Little white, it was in the wrong spot. So I just come underneath it a little bit and make a mark in the location where I think the reflection should be. So I thought just zooming in and slowing it down might give you an idea of that. Now here is where I am making his little fur and whiskers, and pastel pencils are perfect for that. Pastel pencils are harder. They would break off. They break easily right now when you sharpen them, but if they were super, super soft, they wouldn't even work inside of the wood of the pencil. So they're a little harder, and sometimes you can't get great marks on top of soft pastel, but these are basically pulling out some of the pastel into the darker background to make it show up. And you want to keep these marks very gestural and random. You don't want every line to be in the same direction. Now I'm speeding things back up again, and I'm basically just giving more form to this mushroom. You can see that the light source is primarily on the left and the shadow is primarily on the right, and definitely shadow underneath the mouse as well. But I wanted to brighten up the mushroom a bit, and there's kind of a gradation of values ranging from the left going over to the right. And I just used a lot of pretty warm colors. And as I always say, just use what you have. You don't have to have the exact colors that I have. Just get creative. Now, with the stem, it was kind of a gray taupey color, but just like with the mushroom, I need a little bit of a shadow on the right side. Here's where I'm adding the little highlights on those nodules. And I'm keeping it quite random. I don't want it to be on every single one exactly the same. And I'm putting some of them also underneath the rim of the mushroom as well. I wanted to darken things up a bit underneath the mushroom, and I kept really jaggedy gestural marks underneath because I wanted that feeling of straw. And I just loved the whimsical feel of this particular subject matter. I know I do a lot of landscapes, but I really do love painting animals, and I love whimsy. So I thought this little mouse was so sweet. I wanted to zoom in so you could see a little more closely. And I loved the nighttime glow of the fireflies. And it was a wonderful first painting to create in my studio. And I've actually already uploaded this original painting to my Etsy shop. If you'd like to check that out, I'll have a link to my Etsy shop and this painting in the description of this post. Also, I've added a high resolution image to my print shop. I've been forgetting to add paintings to my print shop, but I do have a print shop through fineartamerica.com. And artists, if you ever want to upload your art to make prints, that is a great site. They've always done quality work and they have great customer service. And as you can see in this image, you can offer your paintings as not just wall art, but home decor, puzzles, stationery, and more. I pray this tutorial was a blessing for you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments and see your recreations from this tutorial, not only from my patrons on my Patreon page, but we have a Facebook group as well, Monet Cafe Art Group on Facebook. Come join the fun and share your work. All right, everyone, God bless and happy painting.